And welcome back to another episode of Running with James. I'm your co-host, Lauren. Joined with me today are fellow co-host, Rocky G. You know him as the Rock Dog.
Ho, ho, ho.
And the man who almost didn't survive Habanero 100. And if you look to your right, you will also see fearless leader, Coach Nader, the elite.
It's not Coach Nader.
Coach Tater.
It's Coach Tater. And it's not to their right. It would be to your right.
To my right.
Their left.
The
Because the image is mirrored.
Yeah. Running with James himself, James Wyatt. Thanks for joining us here today, James. That's my audition to be on Channel 13 News. Thank you so much. You can get in touch with me at the number that pops under the screen.
Yep. Are you going to pop up a number on there?
Just like
Rocky?
I definitely will.
You put her number on there? Yeah.
Should. That's
And
a
then
good
for a
idea.
good time.
for a good
Call.
time.
Wow. Okay. That was good. I mean, the voice is you have actually a very smooth voice.
Thank
I mean,
you.
honestly. It's like,
When I'm not goofy laughing.
no, it's just a nice voice. It's a good voice.
Thank
It's
you.
a voice. I almost said something else. They used to have a saying. It was like, you've got a face for radio. And that was just like, it was a meme.
Oh, when you weren't
It was a
good
nice
looking.
way of saying you weren't attractive.
good looking. Yeah,
right?
yeah, I've heard that.
So I just want to make sure people understand that I'm saying that she has a voice for radio,
Mm-hmm.
that she has a good voice.
Which honestly, before we started the podcast, I was so nervous because I've never liked the sound of my voice.
Nobody likes the sound of the
No.
voice. My voice is very annoying. I understand why
I think,
people
see,
don't listen to me.
I actually think that you have a voice that sounds like it should be on radio.
No, I don't think so.
Me neither.
I listen to it and I'm just like, it's like freaking nails going down a freaking chalkboard. I'm just like,
I think that's how we all feel.
like-
I think I sound like a chipmunk.
why do you
I hear my
talk
voice
so
and I'm
much?
like, man, why don't you talk enough?
Yeah, I mean, y'all both have very nice voices.
Kidding.
Very smooth.
Mm-hmm,
Yours is soothing.
Yours is very soothing when you do talk and when you make coherent sentences.
She's insinuating that most of your sentences have no coherence.
They
to
are.
them.
He has his own segment that's called Rocky's Rambles for a reason.
Yep. Why don't I get a segment? I don't have a segment.
This whole thing
We've
is
got
your
LOL.
segment.
Yeah, the whole show.
This whole show is your segment.
The whole
Your
show is
name,
mine
James.
segment.
Your name is the show. You got it. You
No,
won.
I think we should come up with a segment like
James Corner.
Jameisms. I call them
No.
Jameisms.
Jamesisms. No. James's annoyances or something like
The
that.
Oh
Book of
God, the
James.
book when
Yeah.
the book
Did
of
I tell y'all the other day?
James.
I was doing something like in the gym and somebody's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." They were like, "Oh, okay, are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." They're like, "Well, you look really annoyed." That's what it was. Jamie came up to me and she's like, "You look really annoyed." And I was like, "No, I'm good." I was like, "Maybe it's just my face."
Yeah, you do have a resting
I
annoyed
got that
face.
resting annoyed face, right?
There are days where-
RAF.
Yeah, I guess. There are days where I come in, you do seem like you're really like burdened with something. Like you just have this like kind of
burdened.
burden. I don't want to say mad, and it's not in mad. It's just like you're very focused and almost like you've got like a lot of thoughts happening. Maybe
Probably because that's true. I'm probably
Yeah.
working on something.
I don't
Probably
know.
like trying to get things done.
you do have this like when you're hyper focused on something on your iPad or when I see you working, you sometimes look like you're a little upset.
Look like you're thinking of a master plan.
That's probably what it is.
So much sweat
But I think
inside
that's
your hand.
that's not a good thing. That if like my my thinking phase is annoyed, it looks like I'm annoyed.
I know a lot of people who have face like when they're thinking, like when they're really focused.
Yeah.
They go almost deadpan the eyes.
Yeah, is that what it is? My eyes
Like,
just
you
have
just
no
kinda
life in them.
glaze
Is that what it
over?
is? Just glaze. Just so. All right. So let me just real quick.
I always look the
real
opposite.
quick. Give me. Tell me when I've hit annoyed faced. All right. Just let me know
hit
when
it.
my face looks
You
annoyed.
Zoom
hit
in
it.
on
You
this.
already had it.
Right now, I got it. This is annoyed face.
No, there's
You
too
were
much
just
twinkle in
there.
your eye. There's
Now
too much
there.
twinkle in his eye. Little less twinkle. Think of something really
That's
dumb
how
I
you walk
did.
around every Sunday morning when you come
No.
in. That's how you look.
Like this?
that. Yeah. You just
With this face right here.
grumpy.
My face is just normal. I have no.
See, I don't think that's it. No.
I'm
you're
looking at my
forcing
face right
it.
now.
No, that's not it.
That's annoyed face.
That's not the face that I see when I see you look frustrated.
I'm trying to relax my face.
Yeah.
Like, no, now you're just pushing it.
That's annoyed face.
That's the face I want to see when you're talking to people. Just the one eyebrow.
This is annoyed face right here.
So you do that sometimes.
And I breathe real heavy.
I think the breathing heavy to me is more of like a I wonder something's wrong over like the face, because I know sometimes some people just have like a resting like dead face, but you sometimes will breathe like you're just trying to like exhale all the crud. Or like someone just said something really frustrating?
I mean, that's probably true. I mean, but I also do sometimes just breathe deeply, right?
Maybe I just don't do enough, and maybe
Active
that's why I don't
meditation.
recognize it.
I'm doing that active meditation, yeah. But yeah, it's probably true. I am probably, I don't know why. Here's the problem is I think I care too much. I think I care just too much.
That's probably true.
Like I let things bother me too much. Like, and I let things that shouldn't bother me, that should more like, it should be like, meh, whatever. It bothers me, right? So like when I'm trying to help somebody and they don't want the help, that annoys me. Or like when like last night, so like I had a client last night, and my wife was like, "Hey, I don't feel like cooking anything. I know you're not gonna be home till like 10:30. I'm just gonna stop by Chipotle. Do you want something?" And I was like, "Sure, whatever, that's fine." Right? So you go online, you can order your stuff, right? So I went on. She's like, "Here, order your stuff." So I ordered it real quick, and then like 9:55, I get a phone call. My wife's like really agitated, and she's at Chipotle, and she's like, "I'm here. You're gonna have to give me something else." I was like, "What do you mean, babe?" She's like, "You're gonna have to order something else because you ordered a quesadilla. They don't have any corn. They don't have cheese. They don't have something else." And I was like, "How do they not have cheese? That's like
Yeah.
And like their number one
that's
thing
like
they
a thing.
need.
Like you should have cheese." She's
You
like,
always need to have
They
cheese.
said they won't have cheese till tomorrow.
Dang.
And I was
That
like,
means they packed up.
That
they're
means
ready
they
to go.
closed it up and they
Yeah.
put it up and they don't want to get it back out.
Yeah, that's
right?
exactly what that
and I'm like,
is.
and I'm pretty sure they close like at 10:30 or 11 or something like that.
I thought so.
So you shouldn't be maybe packing up all your stuff until 10:30 or 11. And if you do, you need to go get it out because there's a little thing I like to call customer service, right? But that's not a thing anymore, and that annoys me to no end because it also annoyed my wife. And if when my wife's not happy,
Leah does not do well hungry.
no,
Happy wife, happy life.
no, well, Leah, no, she
Leah
goes
does not
straight
like to
from
be
like
hungry.
like good mood to hangry in like t.2 minus seconds or whatever. I don't know, like 0.23 seconds. So you don't play with her when she's ready to eat. She's just like Olivia. They're just like, you better give me some food.
Y'all
So-
made the mistake by going to Chipotle. You should have gone across the street to Cava. They're better.
Well, Caba's not across the street.
oh,
yeah,
y'all
it's
didn't go to the
right
one in
here.
Vintage?
Chipotle's right here
Where's there a
on my way
Chipotle?
to my house.
By Starbucks.
Right by Starbucks.
There's a Chipotle there?
Right in front of the
Oh.
Academy. Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah. I would have gone to Caba, but it's the other side.
Oh, yeah, there
it's
is.
like not on my way to my house, right? So
Cava's great.
either way, but that was annoying.
Yeah,
To me, because
I'm
like
sorry.
when people go out of their way not to help you, right? Or if you're trying to help somebody and they go out of your way, like not to accept the help that they asked for, that's annoying as crap. So, but I don't get mad at people. I think I do get annoyed. I do get annoyed.
You do the heavy breathing.
I do heavy breathing, and apparently
You get the face.
I have a face.
It's okay. Rocky's resting face is just
RGF.
no. Your resting face is just like I don't-
RGF.
What's RGF?
Resting
goon.
goon
That's
face.
right, goon face.
what's goon though?
That right there looks like he's up to no good.
I see. I always
That's what
think
it
it
is.
looked like
He
someone
always, when he walks in here, he's kind of got that walk about him, like he might have just done something that.
When
See,
was
I
done.
always think Rocky's like resting face when you walk through the gym. You're just like really chill. I always think it's like somebody who just like partook in some.
Wow.
Dang.
Something.
Wow.
You look
Dude,
super
just
chill.
flinging accusations
You
over
look-
here,
no,
man.
I'm not saying that's what he did. But
Are
he
we
has
gonna have
the
to start
face
doing
like
random
it.
drug tests?
right?
My
He,
lord.
No, I'm just saying you have that real like chill, like it's all good, like Matthew
It's
McConaughey
all
vibe.
good.
You
It
have
is
that
all
all right,
good.
all right, all
Yeah.
right
You
kind
do-
of
you do have
mentality.
that chill look. That's
yeah,
good.
that's what I'm going for.
Very
That Matthew
relaxed.
I
McConaughey
appreciate
chill.
that.
Days that was it high
Days-
days not Days Confused.
Yeah,
Ridgemont
he was-
High. Is that
no,
what he
he was
did
in
that
Days Confused. Yeah.
Oh, was that Days Confused? Okay,
I
yeah.
don't know. Don't ask
That's
me.
what he is.
I ain't
Mine
seen
just
none of
looks
them shoes.
like mine looks like a scared hamster.
Oh my god. There was a kid that was walking through there the other day, and I was like, "You mad, bro?" He's like, "No." I was like, "You look a little mad." He's like, "No, this is just my medium face."
Oh yeah, I heard kids now refer to it as a
Medium
medium
face.
That's what he said. He
face.
says my medium face.
That's the
I
new
was like,
thing.
"What's a medium face, bro?"
Yeah,
He's like,
that was
"Well, it's
new to
just,
me.
this is my medium face." So I just want y'all to know this is not an annoyed
his
face.
medium face.
This is my medium face.
It's not you're happy and it's not you're mad. It's your
It's
in
not
between.
mad. It's
your
not
medium.
happy. It's not
That
annoyed.
was something you didn't hear them saying that at kids camp. They were saying that all at kids camp.
Yeah, it was because it was one of the ones in kids camp that was. Said
I know
it.
who
I
it
think
was,
he started
yeah.
it. So
That
yeah,
was funny.
medium face.
I thought that was pretty good though.
That's trendy.
I've been giving a hard time every time I see him. I was like, "Hey man, don't be giving me medium face," and he'll smile or whatever, and be like, "Oh." So anyway,
Oh man, Rocky, are you fully recovered?
I was, and I did the leg class last night.
leg day.
Dude, I was not.
Leg
I
day.
didn't. Was not jealous of that class.
Leg day.
Although I got a great picture of you.
Yeah. Was it looking strained or annoyed? Which one?
Strained. Like
Annoyed,
you're
I don't even know.
strained.
It looks like a type of
Like
strain.
you've been
A type
constipated.
of strain.
That bag was heavy, bro.
Yeah.
You're like in squat. You got this
150
bag
pounds.
hunched over. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't wait to post it.
Whenever you want. I don't care.
I know you
As
don't.
long as people see that I'm actually working out. Right?
Getting the gains.
Getting them gains once a week.
Once a
I'm
week.
just kidding. Actually, I had someone yesterday. I had an appointment with someone, and we were talking about like fitness and exercising, and like they're a runner and they've been adding in strength workouts and stuff, and they were kind of questioning like, is this actually going to help me? Whatever. I'm not like you, James. I don't work out every day, all day. I'm like, I'm not working out every day. I was like, how much do you work out? I was like, yeah, that's how much I work. She's like, no, you're not. You're working out. Da, da, da. I was like, nope. And I gave her the days that I work out. She looked so surprised. She looked like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, I'm running every day just like you do, but I don't like lift weights every day. Right?
If you lifted weights every day, you'd probably be a lot like I don't know. For me, you'd probably look like one of those real big guys that like.
I mean, it
real
depends on what kind of weight
huge.
you lifted. Right?
Yeah.
How much weight you lifted, how much protein you're intaking, calories, all that good stuff, right? So, but I mean, I like to think that I'm a big guy, walking around. I mean, I have to turn
Ripping
sideways to go through
shirts.
doors.
I mean, your daughter wouldn't call you big yesterday.
She wouldn't.
She
That's because my daughter is very intelligent, and she knew what I was trying to get at. She wasn't giving me the satisfaction of being funny. So she's just like my wife. Just like my wife. They're like two little peas in a pod, little Twinkies, like a mini and big pink Twinkie. Pinky?
Pinky and
Pinky
brain.
in the brain. That's what
Pinky
they are.
in the brain.
That's
Which one's
right.
the brain?
Brain,
I don't know.
brain.
Which one's? I don't know if Leah would like being Pinky.
I don't know. Sometimes I think Olivia's the brain and she plays Pinky. There's a theory that Pinky was actually
The genius.
I've heard that.
genius.
Yeah.
I have
And
heard that theory.
He was just
Manipulating.
playing dumb and manipulating the
Yeah,
brain.
I have heard that.
I used to
theory.
love that show.
That was a good one. Animaniacs was
I
great.
used to love that show. That show was so
Take
good.
over the world.
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Didn't they try
So-
to reboot
They did on
Animaniacs?
Hulu.
Is it like doing well?
I don't know. I watched it. It was good.
Oh, I haven't watched it. I'll check it out. I know they rebooted it. They're rebooting everything.
They are.
So, all right, guys. Well, I'm glad that you came in today. Thanks for listening. This is the shortest episode we've probably ever had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for coming, guys.
Huh? Yeah.
Can I
I'm
do-
just playing. We're kidding.
I was
We're
like, do I get
kidding.
to
We
do
wouldn't do that to you.
my sign off?
No. So today, guys, what are we talking about? What are we gonna get into? Lauren actually sent me a video.
I did.
Was
It was
it
like the
yesterday,
first-
the other day, whatever? Today, maybe I don't know.
It might have been like it was either when I like first woke up this morning when I did the thing you're not supposed to do when you wake up, which is
on
immediately
social media immediately.
get on social media, and I did. I broke the rule, and I saw something popped up by one of these runners I follow, and she was talking about. She was looking at a girl's form and kind of like giving her 2 cents about it. And I guess in the comments, this girl was getting a lot of flack for heel striking and not being enough in the midfoot. And this girl was kind of like, I guess, debunking.
Okay. Debunking.
Debunking
Yep.
the whole heel strike to midfoot strike. And so I sent it to you and I said, is there like truth to what she's saying? Because there was obviously, she gave a whole thing about it. And so
She was angry.
she
At
was
least the
very
part-
defensive.
She looked very aggressive.
She
I was
very
like,
defensive.
okay, here we go.
Oh my goodness. Of course you were.
Why?
Because anytime I send you something, you always think there's going to be like a fight to it.
Well, I mean, she was pretty aggressive in her. Like, she was like, I'm sick and tired of. So, which is fine. But I didn't know. But after watching the whole thing.
So yeah, normally anytime I see
Moo?
anytime I see things that are like fitness related or health related that to me sound kind of like it's not information I know, I send it to you and be like, hey, what's the 411? Is
Yeah.
there truth
Why
to
did you
this?
send it to me?
Again, I wanted facts,
Wow.
not fake history.
Dude, I mean, I thought we were supposed to like say all the hurtful things before we started recording.
I love
Yeah, I
Rocky.
thought y'all got it all out.
I thought, yeah.
I called him the Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, yeah. Forget. You did give me a good compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a good compliment?
And
I mean, some people
I
might-
told him how great his hair is. Before
I
we
thought
started.
I told him how great his hair was.
We kind of all
And you
told
just
him.
like
I
you
kind of
co-signed
bandwagoned on.
it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. But you do have great hair.
So
That's a fact.
yeah, he does have amazing hair.
But it was all about heel strike. And I asked you, like, is this true? Like, is heel striking okay? Or is it just like you can't do it, bad thing?
It's the devil.
So, yeah, so we were talking about form and
Yeah.
like what people really think about running form and some of the misconceptions about it.
Yeah, I got an email, or maybe not an email, but like a few years ago, in one of the run groups I was a part of, one of the coaches sent out like a study that had been done, and I don't remember where the study was from, or was it? It wasn't a study. Maybe it was just like a run coach or somebody had sent that basically they'd written an article. That's what it was. It was an article, not a study. It was an article, and the article was basically saying, don't fix your run form, right? You don't need to fix your run form because the body is very adaptive.
Yeah.
And your body will basically move the most efficient way possible for you to move, right? And because, I mean, for like a few months or whatever, we'd had some different conversations about like doing drills and, becoming more efficient in your run form. And there was some disagreement in it. So it was almost like they sent this article like, here's my validation that you don't need to fix your run form, right? So like it was very well thought out, right? And there was definitely truth in it, in that your body will adapt, and your body will do like the best thing it can to keep moving forward, right? So the human body is so adaptive that, whether you have a muscular imbalance or an injury or whatever, it's made to keep moving, right? And mainly to keep you survive, right? So for survival, right? And so if you have like some sort of injury or something, then you'll start overcompensating somewhere else. And so and then that may build muscle in that area, whatever, so your body will adapt. But the challenge is that if you don't correct some sort of muscular imbalance or some kind of issue, then eventually it can lead to injuries or a greater, worse problem.
Yeah.
And so they left all that out of the article, right? So the whole point of the article was that you're perfect just the way you are.
Yeah.
Okay? And if that were true, there wouldn't be elite athletes and sub-elite athletes that pay coaches and scientists like
Tons of
hundreds
money.
of thousands of dollars to get into a studio and video them and teach them exercises and measure the amount of strength on the left side compared to the right side. And, they wouldn't go through all this stuff and do all these drills and exercises. They would just go out and just run all the time, right?
Yeah.
And they would be amazing. So one of the reasons why I believe, if you look at like world records over the last, say, 100 years, over the last 20 to 30 years, more world records are being broken on a regular basis than the previous 80 years before that, right? So, from the marathon world record is a perfect example. 10 years ago, the world record was like, 2 hours and 6 minutes, 2 hours and 5 minutes or something like that. And it's almost fallen like every single year, and some years multiple times in a year.
Yeah.
And now it's like 2 hours and 1 minute and like 30 seconds or 20 something seconds, something like that. So, but the crazy thing is it was like 2:02, and then like 3 months later it was like 2:02, 01, and then like a few months later it was like 2:01:39, and right. So it's like these things are falling, and a lot of that has to do with the development of science and the study of the human body and people learning to be more efficient in how they do things, right?
Yeah.
I think it's crazy. What's his name? He has a sprinter, 100-meter, and the 200-meter world record.
Michael Johnson?
Usain Bolt.
Oh.
Usain Bolt, right? So he's literally the fastest man ever. Okay? Nobody's ever been faster than him on the 100 meters and the 200 meters. And he has a thing. He's like, I trained for 10 years to run for 20 seconds, or I trained for 10 years to run for 9 seconds, right? And so he spent all this time developing. What do you think they're developing when you're running 100 meters? That's not very far.
No.
Anybody
Yeah.
can sprint 100 meters.
Not that fast.
No, but I'm just saying anybody can go out and run fast on 100 meters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what shape you're in. So to get better at 100 meters or 200 meters, are you just going to run that 100 meters over and over and over again, and that's what's going to make you better? Are you going to run 30 miles a week? That's what's going to make you better? Or is it going to be fine-tuning yourself in the blocks, coming out of the blocks? Is it going to be your form? Is it going to be, your efficiency and your strength, right? Those are the things. So, so I am a firm believer that running form and running efficiency plays a huge part in not only helping you become faster, but also limiting injury.
I think that is really interesting when now that you like say it, and my brain's kind of processing it. The man, Usain Bolt, literally 100 yards, 100 meters.
100 meters, yeah.
100 meters. That's like such a short distance to run. And literally his whole career is based on just being able to run that basically as fast as he can. And it's like, that seems like that would be such a, just go out and run.
Yeah.
But
and
no.
he became a millionaire because of it. But
That's crazy.
They put a lot of money and a lot of training into fine tuning his form, how he did his knee drive and pulled up his heels, how he leaned. A lot of it also is like his, how to come out of those starting blocks. There's a lot of like form and efficiency that comes in that, right? the reaction time from when the gun goes to when they take off.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many details because at that distance, you're talking about like the difference between a tenth of a second or a hundredth of a second to be a winner.
I didn't even think of that part. The gunshot, like actually like training
Yeah,
your
and
brain
they actually
to
have a rule
recognize it.
that like they have these sensor pads in the blocks,
Mm-hmm.
and if your reaction time is like quicker than whatever 0.0017 or something like that, it's an automatic disqualification.
Because they assume you're going before the
right,
gun.
you're jumping,
Okay.
you're jumping
That's
the gun,
cool.
right? But that to me,
Interesting.
that's
That's
not fair
crazy.
because that just means you have a quicker reaction time, right? But either way, like there's all these little details that go into becoming a better sprinter or becoming a better runner.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a better runner, why wouldn't you want to try to do those, right? So the thing that the video said was that, and this is a thing, I would say, well, let me ask you, have you ever watched people run, Rocky?
Yes.
You ever pay attention to people run?
Yes.
What do you see a lot of?
Bad run form.
Well,
Are we talking about like professionals or just regular people?
just in general, people in general.
I see a lot of people going hard mainly, and then they'll start walking.
They run hard and walk.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see a lot of that. Or I see heel strikes, going side to side with their chest.
Oh, the swing.
A lot of twisting.
Yeah, a lot of twisting.
A lot of sashaying, keeping it sassy.
Yep.
That's right.
I've heard some crazy things. People have like the reason why they do the things they do.
Oh,
like-
really?
Yeah, like the reason they run the way they run. I've heard some crazy excuses, like out of this world. Like some people have told me, oh yeah, I take such big steps because I was told it will help me be faster because I'm going to cover more ground. I've heard there's one young lady that I used to coach, and she would like when she was running, her hips would dip like big time.
Like them
Like
speed walkers.
I was gonna say like a speed
Yeah,
walker.
like the speed walkers, or like she was going down a catwalk. I mean, her hips were just whoo, 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 and she said it was because
That didn't
like her
hurt?
mom or her grandmother told her that that's how women should run because it's going to make their butts
Oh,
stronger
I thought you
or
were gonna say
something
because it's
like
gonna give
that.
him a man on the track.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's what she said, but I could have swore it says it's going to make your butt bigger or something like
That
that.
sounds like that would hurt.
And so she created this like horrible like hip dip or whatever when she run, and it was very inefficient.
How was her butt?
Huh?
How was her
How-
butt?
was her
I don't
butt-
know. I'm not answering. that. Right?
See if it worked at least.
Yeah. And then I've seen people who will like,
Can you imagine
you know,
if you answered? I can tell you it didn't work.
I mean, I love going to like Memorial Park. I love Memorial
Oh, you can
Park
do some great people watching there.
because it's such
so
good
much
people
fun.
watching. There's so many
It's so
people
much
there,
fun.
and it's such good people watching. And you can tell people who are trying to work on their form and stuff, or people who have maybe had somebody tell them something.
The vanity runs.
And but like, I've seen people like doing the whole like barefoot, like literally running without shoes on. Doing the little baby steps, right? Because they're trying to quicken their cadence, but they're just kind of doing it the wrong way. So it's just crazy, and all of it is to be a better runner. So, the thing about running efficiency, so the thing that dictates your overall pace, there's really three things that dictate your pace. One is your cadence, okay? What's your cadence?
How many steps you take per minute?
Okay, so how quick your feet are moving per minute, okay? Your stride length, what's your stride?
The distance between your feet.
How
Okay.
much ground?
So
you
how big a
covering?
step you take,
Yeah.
how much ground you're actually covering,
Yeah.
and then your overall running economy, okay, which is several different factors, VO2 max, aerobic capacity. So it's a little more broader to like define that, right? So the faster you move your feet and the bigger step you take, the faster you go.
Yeah.
Right? The quicker you're going to cover a mile. And so when it comes down to like run cadence, right, there's a number that is kind of like traditionally for runners a good goal number. Do y'all know what it is?
180.
180 steps per minute, okay? Doesn't mean that that's the be-all, end-all. Doesn't mean once you hit 180, you're golden, right? Or it doesn't mean if you're at 184, then you don't need to go higher, right? Or, whatever. It doesn't mean you're a perfect runner, but that's a good goal number, 180
Yeah.
steps per minute, right? The average person that I start coaching is usually around 155 steps per minute, okay? So that, before even seeing them get on a treadmill, that I already kind of know they're probably going to be overstriding, okay? And because the tendency is as we try to increase our speed, you are naturally going to take bigger steps,
Yeah.
okay? And usually people do that unconsciously. They do it to try to cover more ground,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like a thing you're thinking about. You just try to reach out and get more ground. You're trying to grab that ground.
I mean, I still do it when I'm like falling out of my form and panicking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a default
Yeah.
for most people. I mean, I do it, right? I've seen videos of me and pictures of me, like especially at the end of a race if I'm
Yeah.
tired, where I'll do that, right?
Yeah.
And so I have to be I try to be very, very intentional about, okay, quicken your steps. Like, especially if I feel tired in a race, I'm like, quicker steps, James, not faster pace. Quicker steps, quicker steps, quicker steps, because it's more efficient. Because usually what ends up happening is like, to reference this young lady when she was talking about the heel strike, and she's right? It doesn't matter whether you land on your heel, right? It doesn't matter if you land on your heel, your forefoot, your midfoot, right? So there's all these different theories as like, where's the best place to land? But it's less important, to me, it's less important to where you land on your foot as to where you land underneath your center of mass. Okay, so like your hips.
Yeah.
Okay, so your hips is your center of mass. And really, for you to engage your glutes, which is one of the largest muscle groups you have in your body, you need to be making contact directly underneath your hips. Well, if you're landing on your hips, more than likely, you're probably going to be landing on around your midfoot. Okay, but there's professional runners. I've seen videos of professional runners who are landing on their hips and landing on their heel, right? Because they put their foot in like super dorsal flexion, right? So they're really curling their toes up. I've seen like pro runners who have this crazy like
The supination?
where their foot like super pronates like inside, right? I've seen some like literally it looks like their ankles touching the ground. It's crazy, right? So there's no like you have to have this kind of running form to like be super fast. But if you have these inefficiencies and you work on particular inefficiencies, it will make you faster, right?
Okay.
So I think most people. So we did a video. Rocky and I did a YouTube video.
You get to be the model.
About running form, right? And, we got him on the treadmill, right? So what were some of the things that you learned or kind of stood out to you when we did that?
Vertical oscillation. That was how I said it. Is that how you say
Oscillation, the bounce.
Yeah, I didn't realize the bounce.
There's more bounce to the ounce, bro.
Yeah.
It's not just your hair moving.
Yeah, and then I'm loud on that treadmill. I was pounding it down.
So why is that something, being loud?
Because I'm not being quick on my feet.
Okay. Right.
Pump.
So one of the things I told you was like the sound, right? So because I've done this for a while now and I do it so much, right? You start seeing trends, right? And you start noticing similar things, right? So it doesn't always mean that X equals Y, but if I hear something, like if I can hear you're really loud and you're not like a heavy person, well, usually, without me even being able to see you, I can tell, you know what, you probably have a pretty high vertical oscillation, right? So you're bouncing up and down a lot. Well, that can be very inefficient because however high you're bouncing, that's just wasted energy going up and down, right? We want all of our energy taking us forward, right? Not to the left, not to the right, not up and down. We want it taking us forward. So if you have a lot of vertical oscillation, well, then the tendency is that you're a little more inefficient than you need to be, right? So like that's one of the signs, right? If I hear somebody coming, right, I'm like, I can tell without even seeing them. I'm like, this person they have a lot of bounce, a lot of vertical oscillation, right? So what else? What was something else you learned?
I was overreaching. I was
Overstriding?
Yeah, I was
Overstriding.
overstriding.
Okay. And like looking at you run, like you have pretty good run form, right? I mean, you have a good turnover. So that
was the next thing. The leg coming back.
Yeah, your heel.
Yeah, the heel strike.
Yeah. So the heel strike.
What's it called? Heel.
Like
Heel lift?
Heel
Oh,
lift.
like to
Yeah.
your
So
butt?
he has great heel lift. So he obviously has very strong hamstrings, right?
Yeah.
I bet you've never pulled a hamstring before, have you?
Yeah, and I have not.
No.
Thank
So
you, God.
you have very strong. So your heel is definitely coming up. So that's really good, but you're very upright when you run, right? So you're not benefiting from the fall forward, right? That gravity.
So yeah, that controlled fall. That's one thing you told me a few years ago that kind of stuck with me. Running is just a controlled fall.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, also the knee coming up. Mine
Forward knee drive. Yeah. So the trick is that if you can learn. So he mentioned controlled fall, right? That running is a controlled fall. So basically, if I'm to lean at my ankles, right, we call it falling forward. Okay. So you don't want to lean at your hips because that shuts down your hip flexors, right? So it means you're not going to be as efficient. But if you can learn to lean at your ankles, and then what happens is you fall forward. Gravity is the thing pushing you forward. And so if you can fall forward and catch yourself, right? So we call it the catch, when you land underneath your hips, and then the pull, which is when you pull your heel to your
up.
butt and your knees forward. Well, it's like this constant cycling of fall, pull, catch, fall, pull, catch, fall, pull, catch. And so you become much more efficient because gravity is pushing you forward and your muscles are able to assist in gravity moving you forward. And so it's crazy like how much more efficient. I've been on the track before with people, either where I was running or they were running with me. And we were running a pretty fast pace, right? We'll say 550. Okay, we're moving pretty quickly. We're running around the track, and they're hurting, right? They're hurting. They're very fully capable of doing it, but they're hurting. And I'm like, all right, let's count the cadence, right? And so we're counting their cadence, and it's like 165, 170 steps per minute. All right. I was like, okay, now we're going to do it again. This time, I'm going to keep the cadence. I'm going to keep the pace. You just get in step with me, okay? And then we take off running again, and then I get that cadence up to 185, maybe 190. So we're taking much quicker steps, right? And so I can hear them back there, and they're trying to get on the steps and everything. And we go around, and I'm like, how did that feel? And I was like, oh man, I felt like we were going way slower or what have you. And I was like, nope, we were actually going faster. Because the thing is that they were more efficient, right? So their brain is working harder because
they're having to think about all of
because
it.
they're having to think about it so much, but their body's not having to work so hard.
Okay.
That's why I say that's why you were saying earlier, you can do a heel strike if you want, but it's not being efficient.
It's not as efficient
It's
as
like
it
a
could be.
stop when you're
Right. So if you are
for that
overstriding,
running
right,
forward.
and as you're overstriding, if you're heel striking, you're stopping yourself from moving forward, right? Especially if you do it with like a straight leg, because then, it's not just your body weight, right? So I weigh 185 pounds, something like that, right? So it wouldn't be 185 pounds landing on my ankle and on my knee and on my hip joint. No, it's that plus the force of gravity coming down. So that's 2 to 3 times the force.
9.8 meters squared.
Okay. So your joints, like your knee and your ankle, are not really meant to be shock absorbers, right? They're not really meant to absorb impact. Okay. They're really meant as they're joints, right? So they're meant to be lubricated to help move and stuff, and they have minor shock absorption qualities. The things that are supposed to absorb impact are your muscles, right? So your quads, your glutes, your calves, things of that nature. So the tendons are meant to absorb that impact. So when you land in front of yourself, or if you land in front of yourself on your heel, especially with a straight leg, well, then all of that weight and all that pressure is basically being put down on your skeletal system, right? And so that's how you can get stress fractures. That's how you can eventually get overuse injuries and muscular imbalances. So if you can learn to, increase your cadence or learn how to land on your hips and learn how to fall forward and pull and catch and all that good stuff, it makes you not only more efficient, but it's going to make you faster with less effort, which is what efficiency is. And it's going to lower your risk of injury, significantly.
Wow. Well, one other thing about running, how does breathing come into place? I've asked you before, and you were like, it doesn't matter about how you breathe. Just breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Just
then
breathe, bro. I mean, there's all kinds of, things out there. People are breathe on every 4th step or something like that, or every time your left foot hits 6 times, breathe or something.
But
Breathe
I
out
can't
on
do
the
that kind of
third.
counting.
I wasn't taught that, but I was always
I
taught
can't do that counting.
in your nose, out your mouth.
Okay,
In your
that's
nose,
another
out
thing.
I've
your
heard
mouth,
that
and
one.
then
Yeah.
always control it. My coach always said, if you can control your breathing, you can control the race.
Yeah.
As long as you stay on top of that, you're on top of it. But if you let it get out of hand,
Yeah,
that's it,
I mean,
you're
I
losing
think
it.
that's one of the things that some coach heard somewhere, and so they just repeated it. But I mean, that's to an extent it's true, right? If you control your breathing, it means you're aware of it, and it means you are breathing, right? So it's important to get oxygen in. But Jack Daniels is one of probably the most prolific run coaches there's ever been, right? He's got several books.
Jack Daniels?
That's his name, yeah. Not that
Not
Jack
the
Daniels
drink.
clown,
Oh.
right? So, but he is he's a coach of coaches, right? The dude is legit. And I saw him do an interview one time, and they were asking him all kinds of questions, and they brought up the breathing thing. And he gave the best answer ever. He's like, breathe.
Just breathe.
That was it. He's like, next question, right? So the thing is,
There's no right or wrong way.
you can
Just do
breathe.
it.
You can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. You can try to breathe in and out through your nose or what. You can do all that stuff if you want to. Just make sure you're breathing, dude.
Just don't
whatever it
hyperventilate.
takes to keep breathing.
Or
right?
what you tell me, don't hyperventilate. You tell
Yeah.
me that a lot.
Don't take short breaths, right? So don't do the because you're not actually getting any oxygen in.
Yeah.
Right. So one thing that I do try to do is ever so often. I don't have a specific thing. I don't have every 8 on an 8 beat or whatever. But every so often, I try to make sure I take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Right. So
I do that.
I'll breathe in and I breathe out to make sure I'm getting my lungs full of oxygen, right? Especially if I'm working hard out there, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, oftentimes if you hear me you can hear me coming. Usually, if I'm running and I'm behind you, you can hear me coming, and it's not because of my feet. is because of how I'm breathing. I
Yeah.
have I breathe with like a rhythm, and usually it's a rhythm with my feet, right? And it's just something that's happened and developed over the years. So because I'm breathing, I'm like, or something. I don't know if it's like that, but like people tell me all the time, oh yeah, I know James is coming because I can hear him.
Yeah.
But I've seen runners on YouTube. They do breathing exercises. There's like they get with like deep sea divers.
Yeah.
To do breathing exercises because
That would help. Yeah.
Yeah, they were saying how like when you hold your breath, you know how you want to. It's not because you want more oxygen. It's because your body wants to get rid of carbon dioxide that's inside of it. I didn't know that, and so like they're like when you breathe into your nose and hold it, they were doing practices on breathing and how like they weren't saying like do the whole one
Maybe
every
swimmers would
all
make good
that.
runners.
They were just like in your nose, out your mouth.
Yeah.
And then always focus on your breathing as well because especially during a race, like you've already trained.
Yeah.
All that stuff is not going to change the day of. The breathing, just as long as you know you're focusing on that, you're just going to keep on moving.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely truth to that. I wouldn't disagree with that at all. But here's the thing: is running actually is very simple. Is a very simple thing that can be overcomplicated very quickly.
Sure.
Okay. And so what I try to tell people is don't get bogged down too much with all the details. So if I'm training somebody, no matter what it is, whether it's running, strength, whatever, I always tell them start small and we progress. So today we work on, so if you go and video yourself running or get yourself videoed running and you see all these inefficiencies or all these things, well, you're not going to fix them overnight. It's just not going to happen, right? Because what you have to do is you have to create a new neurological pathway. So here's what happens. So your muscles have this thing called muscle memory. That's actually not even a thing, but that's what everybody knows. Everybody's familiar. If I say muscle memory, people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay? Your muscles don't actually have a memory. But what happens is your brain creates these neurological pathways to your muscles. And so the more you do something, the stronger that neurological pathway is, right? The stronger the signal is from your brain to your muscles, which means the less you have to think about it, right? So that's why they say practice. Well, they say practice makes perfect. It doesn't. It brings progression. That's why they say practice makes perfect is because if you repeat something over and over and over and over and over and over again, you can do it without even thinking.
Like an everyday task, like just walking or something you do every day. I mean, you don't have to think about it. You can do it without realizing you're doing it because your body's just
waking
used
up
to
and
it.
getting on social media. Don't even think
Yeah,
about it.
that
Yeah,
one.
that's a
Yeah,
neurological pathway
that
you
is.
created, okay?
Yeah.
And so some are easier to create than others, and some are harder to break than others.
Yes.
Okay? So when we create these neurological signals, or when these neurological signals are sent through along these pathways, the more focus we can give to whatever it is we're trying to do, the stronger that pathway is going to get. Okay? So if you okay, I'll use this example. So I got injured a while ago. I think I've talked about this before. I ruptured my Achilles, right?
I remember, yes.
And so when I ruptured my Achilles, I was in a cast for like 6 months or something like that. And then they put me in a boot, different kinds of boots, right? Easing me back to flatten my foot out or what have you. So it was literally probably almost, I think I ruptured it in February, and I think it was August or September before I was actually in a shoe.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and even when I was in the shoe, like my Achilles was very tight.
Yeah.
I had a lot of muscle atrophy. And so I
Baby
limped,
calf.
right? I limped, and it wasn't on purpose.
Oh, yeah, that swagger, yeah.
It wasn't on purpose whatsoever. Some of it was because the one side was stronger than the other, so it overcompensated. Some of it was I didn't have the same mobility and flexibility in this ankle that I had in the other one. So I had like this pimp limp. And for a long time, like I would walk around limping, and people would be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And they're like, "Oh, well, you're limping." And I didn't even know that I didn't even feel that I was limping. And so I had to start being more focused when am I limping right now? And then I have to start trying to work because I would use the left leg more than the right leg. And so even now, sometimes that was like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Like if I'm tired or I'm exhausted or whatever, people will ask me, "Are you limping, James?" And I'll catch. I was like, "Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm just tired." And so I catch myself because that neurological pathway was created, and so it was strong because I had no choice but to develop it because it was just like every single day for almost a year. And so, the stronger those signals are, the easier it's going to be. That's why you can work on your form, and when you get fatigued and you're not thinking about it, you fall back into your old habits. Okay, so developing those neurological pathways are very important. Trying to fix your form while you're running is not only hard, but maybe possibly even impossible. right? So trying to think, quicken my steps, drive my knees, pick up my heels, don't cross your arms. That's just going to, your heart rate's going to go through the roof because your brain's going to need so much oxygen. You're going to get mentally, physically, and probably even emotionally exhausted because you're not going to be doing good and you're going to be upset with yourself. So I try to tell people, don't try to fix your run form while you're running.
Yeah.
Use exercises and drills to create those neurological pathways, to strengthen those muscles so that your brain will eventually start clicking and it'll start happening, right? So we did like this run seminar for the marathon group a few weeks ago, and I brought up some old data from when I first started like trying to be a better runner, okay? And I brought up one of my first runs, and the run was it was slower, but my heart rate was like really high. It was like a 930, and my heart rate was like, it had some green, but like 50% of it was orange, right? So it was like, I was running too fast. I should have slowed down, but like I was trying to get in my brain. I was trying to like convince myself that slow was okay. My ego, right, was trying to take over. But like my cadence was like 165 steps per minute. I think my stride length was like around a meter or so. And so that's when I first started. Well, I've been over the years very deliberate about, before I go run, I always do drills, right? And I keep progressing with drills, right? I'll look at my run form and stuff like that, try to quicken my cadence, I've tried to work on my form and everything. And so I brought up a run that I had done like a few weeks ago, right? And it was basically the same month, right? It was both August, right? And it was close to the same days or what have you. So one run was like around 9:30 pace with a heart rate of like 150. I think it was like an average of 148, but like half of it was like 156, 157, right? And my cadence was like 165 steps per minute, and my stride length was about a meter, okay? The run I looked at this time around, my pace was like 8:30. My heart rate was like 129.
Oh, wow.
Right? And my cadence was like 175, 176 beats per minute. And my stride length was 1.3 meters. Okay? So I'm covering more ground. My cadence is higher.
Yeah, picking your feet up more.
Right? So without anything, I'm automatically going to be faster just because I'm covering more ground quicker.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm taking more steps, right?
Yeah.
Well, then my heart is also stronger, right? So you wonder, how can you get 1 to 3 minutes faster with a lower heart rate? Well, part of it is having a stronger heart, but the other part of it is being more efficient in your run form, right? So that's a drastic difference. Now, that took like 6 or 7 years to get from that to that, but those are really big numbers. That's a big difference in numbers, right? So like one effort was almost a threshold effort, while the other effort was like in the blue, right? It's all blue.
Yeah.
It was just very, very super low intensity, right? And so the difference between that is, in October, I think it was in October, I ran my first 10K of that year when I first started. And my average pace, I think, was like 7:12, 7:20, somewhere in there, like 7:15-ish, okay? And the last mile was like 8 minutes, right? So I like went out too fast.
Hurting.
And I was dying. I was hurting, right? So that was a 10K. So that's 6.2 miles, okay? And I ran like a 7:15-ish mile, okay? Fast forward to my last marathon, I ran a 7:15 pace for 26.2 miles, and my pace was very consistent the entire time, right? On my 10K, my heart rate was like 175, 180 or whatever, so I was working hard. On my marathon, my average heart rate was like 149, 150, right? So I ran the same pace a few years later at quadruple the distance, and my heart rate was much lower. So that means the effort was much lower, right? So a lot of that just simply came from, obviously, some aerobic fitness that I got. A lot of that was aerobic fitness, but then also improving my overall running economy so that I wasn't fighting myself as much as I was running forward.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Yeah.
Since, you've obviously trained a lot of people, runners from different backgrounds and all that, have you noticed in particular, because I know when I came to you and you looked at my run form, I told you I have like a turnout, obviously, so we're fixing my little duck waddle on the one side. But have you noticed certain people with certain athletic backgrounds seem to have the same thing they're always trying to fix, or any kind of like noticeable?
I wouldn't say that. I would say this. 99% of the people overstride.
Oh, just in general.
Just in general. Like
Okay.
I put you on a treadmill, 99% of the people overstride.
Do you think that's just a misconception everyone has about running? Like you just need to take
Cover
big
more
steps?
ground.
Yeah.
I think part of it is we develop these muscular imbalances, and so we have pretty weak posterior chains. Like our glutes aren't very strong, hamstrings aren't very
Especially
strong.
when you're sitting at a desk all day.
Your quads tend to do most of the work when you're walking, and if you're sitting down, getting up and sitting down, right? So your quads tend to be stronger than any other muscle group in your legs and your
Okay.
butt. Your glutes are a very large muscle group. They're one of the largest muscle groups you have in your body, but if you don't train them and you don't learn how to activate them, then you don't get the benefit of using them,
Sure.
right? And so when people sit down, every day for extended periods of time, they shorten their hip flexors, which tends to mean that their hip flexors are not only inactive, they're shut down, but they're also not very strong,
Yeah.
right? Which is one thing you need to drive your knee forward. And so if your knee's not driving forward, there's another thing. It's going to be hard to land underneath your hips. So if you have a weak hamstring, weak glutes, and weak hip flexors, well, that's going to make for overstriding and, not efficient run form. So I think there's kind of an epidemic of, because of our inactive lifestyles, our very sedentary work environments, okay? So maybe we are active, but we're not active at work, right?
Yeah.
So you're sitting down, maybe you're active 1 or 2 hours a day, like really active, like working out, running,
Yeah.
whatever, but for 8 hours a day, you're just sitting down, not moving very much. And so, those signals for your brain to activate, your hip flexors or your quads or your glutes or whatever aren't firing like on all cylinders. And so it just can make for pretty poor run form, right? I had people I've coached before, and we've tried to work on the run form, and I have seen people. There's one particular person I'm thinking right now, like they were improving their run form, like their form was getting better, and they got so caught up in like running fast, like fast is the only way to go, and like I don't even know what happened, but like they've reverted. I've seen them running like over the last year or so, what have you, and they've reverted back to worse than what they were before we started doing
Really?
drills. Yeah, like worse. I mean, I'm not coaching them anymore.
Just because they're always trying to run fast all the time. So
I don't
everything
know.
else
I don't know.
everyone
I
does,
assume
no
it's because they
clue.
don't do drills. I assume it's because they don't focus on the quickness of their feet, right? I mean, I think what it is they basically said, this is bullcrap. This isn't going to help me get faster. The only thing that's going to help me get faster is running fast all the time.
I
Yeah.
know what I'm doing.
Speed is what it's all about, right? So, which is not the case, right? So, what I'm
Ka-chow.
seeing is I'm seeing like heart rates go up, effort levels go up, and I'm seeing like this inefficiency causing them to be like having to work harder, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I hope it works out for them, but I don't think it's going to. I think I think over the next year or two,
They're gonna start getting hurt.
you're going to start seeing this decline, and you're going to see more and more injuries developing.
That's
right?
not good.
So, which is not good. I
it's not
wouldn't
great.
wish that on anybody. So, so I mean, there's a lot of really good coaches out there that will teach you, like this one, like the one you sent me. When she first started out, right? I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. But then when she started talking about like what was important was landing under your hips, right,
Yeah.
under your center of mass and stuff, I was like, okay, yeah. She just harped too much on the heel thing, right?
She was a little salty about people getting on this girl's form.
Yeah.
She was coming to her rescue.
Yeah, she was coming because I mean that's what every woman needs.
Women helping women.
Women helping them and saving them. So,
Well, we talked about lower body.
yeah.
What about your arms and like
What
how it's
do I-
supposed to go? What
Like, what do I do with my
What I do
hands
with
when
my
I run?
hands, yeah, when I'm running.
I only do interpretive dance with my hands when I run.
Yeah, I mean, so remember, the key is going forward, moving forward, right? So anything that takes us anywhere but straight ahead can be inefficient, right? So one of the things we usually will look at is like what happens with your arm swing in compared to like your center of mass. Like, so you have this this pretend line that runs down the medium part of your body or the middle part of your body, so your medial line. And so you don't want to cross that line, right? So you don't want to be like, we represent the Lollipop Guild. You don't want to be all that, okay? That's inefficient, right? So the key is you want those arms moving back and forward, not crossing over your body, right? And so sometimes you'll see people who'll have a lot of hip, shoulder, like twist, like torso
Yeah.
twist, right? So they may not be crossing that line, but it's because the line's moving, right? And so they're not really moving their arms, they're moving their torso, which can be very, very inefficient as well. I actually had a coach.
I was about to say, I remember you telling me you're
I had a coach, man, who taught us. So I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's a park around here. There's a Asian gentleman that's been running out there for 20 years. And he puts this white strap around his neck, and he has like this little it's like a little contraption. It's like a plastic contraption, and he runs with it, right? So I remember our coach had us have one of those, and he would teach us to not move our arms, but rather move our upper body, because we want to move as few muscles as possible because we want to be more efficient.
Okay.
So we would basically be doing the twist, right, as we're running. And so our arms would be up here, and we would be running like this, okay? That was like
That seems like be so weird.
not accurate.
Oh man, I'm so glad.
That seems like that'd be so weird.
Not accurate
I'm so
at
glad I
all,
had good
bro.
coaches.
Like, it's so inaccurate.
Have you tried telling this gentleman that maybe he shouldn't be using this device?
No, he's in his ways.
He's stuck.
I mean, this guy's like
He's stuck.
probably in his
He's very
60s
stuck
or
It worked
so,
out for him.
65. And I mean, I don't know him. I'm not going to go, hey, bro, you're wrong. And I don't even, he actually doesn't have, he has good running form. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know if he just, what he uses it for, but
have
our
bad
coach,
shoulders or
it just
something.
reminds me of our coach
Yeah.
giving us that and telling us, hey, this is how you should be running, right? To develop the ability
Yeah.
to not move your arms, right?
Yeah, I think the thing you told me once, and I still hear you tell it to other people, is when you're moving your arms forward, think about like brushing in your pocket.
Yeah. So I like to think of it like being in the Old West.
Oh,
right?
that's
You're
what it
Yosemite
was.
Sam.
That's what it was.
And you're
It was
drawing
guns-
down on the
drawing a
bad
gun.
guy.
That's
Right?
right.
So you basically are taking your hand to get your gun and then to
Bring it up.
right? So if you're shooting the sky, right, you're overreaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you don't get your arm, if your hand never goes back far enough, you can't get your
You
gun,
can't get your
right?
gun.
So you're thinking pockets to chest, almost kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where your hands go from your pockets to your chest.
Yeah.
And you're trying to drive those arms back. So there's a lot of different like mental cues I try to give people. That's one of them.
That one helped me.
Think about elbowing the person behind you rather than punching the person in front of you, right? So driving your elbows back rather than how you
Uppercutting?
uppercutting the person in front of you. Because you want to draft off that person.
Yeah.
The person behind you,
You
you
don't
don't want
wanna
them to
take them
catch you,
out.
so you got to take them out so they don't draft
when I
off
first
you.
started running, one of my first drills was that drill, was the elbow back,
Oh,
drive
really?
it back, and then always make sure the hand that goes up is going with the opposite leg. If my
Right.
right hand's going up, then my left leg is going up too.
Yeah.
And because I mean, I didn't know that people
Your
did it.
hands and
I
your
didn't- I
arms
didn't-
are so connected. It's
Yeah.
crazy, like how they will move in reference to one another. So you definitely want those arms moving.
Yeah, I didn't know people didn't know that you're supposed to move opposite legs with the hands and arms.
I mean, it seems to me like if you tried moving the same hand and arm, that would be really weird.
Well,
Yeah.
during drills.
Yeah,
it's-
but here's the deal. It happens during drills all the time.
Yeah.
I guess I've never paid attention to
Yeah,
it.
you do it all the time when
Do
we're doing
I?
drills. Yeah.
I guess I need to start paying
It's
more attention.
here's the deal. It's because your brain is not wired to do that movement, right?
Yeah,
so
maybe not.
One
I
of
need
my
to start
favorite
paying
things to
attention.
do is when we do like Sunday Fun Day and we're doing drills and we do new drills.
Yeah,
And I'm throwing new
you
drills.
love
everybody
that.
gets thrown off.
And everybody like
And James is just sitting at the halfway point. He's just got this smile on his face, and you just think it's like the funniest
it
thing.
is because half of y'all look like
so silly.
you look like the court jester or whatever. Look what I can do. Or like Stewart. Look what I can do. Like kicking hips up and like random twitches. It's just like so funny. And the reason I think it's funny is because like even though I've gotten good at a lot, I don't usually I don't give a drill that I don't think that I have not practiced and that I'm not halfway decent at. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I'm not bringing something that I haven't done over and over and over again
Yeah.
and have some sort of understanding of it. But when I first started some of those drills, I looked just like everybody else
Yeah.
that's out there. And so the only reason I don't look like that is because I've done the drills so much that my brain has learned how to do them. So watching everybody out there, it's just funny to see the imbalances. It's funny to see people trying to figure it out. And then the funniest thing is the people that they don't even care. They're just like going through the motions because everybody else is there. And it's basically like they're doing me a favor. That's the one that I love more than anything else is they're kind of doing the motion, but it's just like, I'm just doing this because everybody else is doing it. And I don't want to be the person left. I don't want to feel like, I don't want people to think that I'm
stick in the
weird.
mud?
Yeah, exactly. But really they don't care. They're
That's
not
so
trying.
funny.
Right. So if you're going to do them, do your best, right? Be very focused on it. Understand what muscle groups you're using. So there's a list of drills that you can do. Drills are basically just neuromuscular exercises to teach your brain how to do something more efficiently or do something different, right? So they're over-exaggerations. Specifically, run drills are over-exaggerations of better run form, right? If you ever play basketball, if you play golf, tennis, volleyball, any sport, there are drills, right? You've
Ballet.
got dribbling drills, you've got shooting drills, you've got swinging drills, right? All of these things are basically over exaggerations of something that you're going to do so that you can become better at it. So running is the same thing. If you do drills, you're going to get better at drills. Nobody goes out to play basketball and think they're going to be any good at it if they don't practice the fundamentals of basketball. Okay? Yes, some people are naturally gifted because they're naturally gifted athletes.
Or they're just really tall.
Right? Or they're tall. But if you don't practice actually, that's a great example. So when I was in high school, we had, our team, I went to a private school. And so, my senior year or my junior year really is when it started. We had a really good team. Like we'd all been together pretty much all throughout high school, and we were ballers. We could hoop. I mean, I'm not playing. We could play. We could play some ball. We would play like 5A schools, and we were like a 3A private school. So we were a pretty small school, and we'd play like 4 and 5A schools, and we like high schools. So they had some good guys, right? And we could hang in there with them, right? We get dunked on all the time, but whatever. But I remember, I believe it was our junior year. We had a guy that started going to school, and he was 6'9".
6'9"?
6'9". This dude was a beast, right? And so we're obvious like, bro, you're coming to play basketball, right? He's like, yeah, I'll play basketball.
I would have loved if he said, no, I'm going for theater.
No, he played basketball, but here's the problem. He was not good.
Oh, was he really?
He had 0 skill sets. He couldn't dribble. He couldn't shoot. Like, he had no basketball IQ whatsoever. And so he made the team, and he started, but he didn't last very long in every game. Like, it was more or less, I think the coach put him out there as an intimidation factor. But, like, he literally you could throw him the ball, and he would, for most people, he was like, a foot taller than everybody else. So he'd just turn around, drop the ball in. But the problem is that he would forget to put the ball on the ground, so he would travel all the time, or he would double dribble, or he would trip over his own feet. He was so uncoordinated, right? He could not shoot. If he wasn't under the goal, it wasn't going on. This dude was literally 6 inches from the goal when he raised his arms up, and he would miss a layup.
So you're saying he should have been in theater and he could have been a tree, a great tree.
Or he could have learned fundamentals of basketball and practice dribbling, practice shooting, practice laying up, practice his footwork, because that's really what he needed to practice and learn for his brain to catch up. And part of it may have been just he grew so fast, so quick that he was pretty uncoordinated.
Sure.
But you can learn coordination, but he never learned it. So he had what looked like the tools necessary to be good at basketball, but we would hoop him up all the time, right? I remember blocking him one time. I am 5'10". On a good day.
You're almost a foot shorter than
this dude
guy.
was 6'9", right? And I jumped up and freaking threw that. Like, I was D'ing him up. It was in practice or whatever. And, like, I was talking a little smack. I'm not going to lie. I was talking a little, because we're friends. We all hung out.
You talk smack?
But I was
I
talking
would
some smack. I was talking,
never
I talk trash when I play ball. Like,
Who
I didn't play in a
knew?
game
Who knew?
in high school. I didn't, but like with my friends and like pickup ball and stuff. Oh, I'll talk some trash. And I was talking to him, man. I was like, you got no game, bro. I'm about to throw this stuff. Boy, I was like, don't even turn around, because I'm about to, oh my God, I'm about to block this mess. And he was getting nervous. You could tell he was getting really nervous. And he outweighed me probably by 150 pounds. He was a huge dude, right? So he turned around like all awkwardly, and it took him 4 days or whatever to turn around. And he went to shoot that ball, and I jumped up, wham! And that ball went flying. The whole gym. The ladies were in there practicing. The girls were like, oh! I was like, not in James's house. Not putting that Mutombo finger in his face. I was like, no, not in James's house. It was out of control, right? So he needed to practice, obviously, his fundamentals. So
way to let his confidence kind of sit up there.
yeah. I don't think he's still playing basketball. Or he might be in the NBA. I don't know. Maybe we're retired by now. So, but the thing is your body doesn't just naturally do what it should be doing.
Yeah.
Okay? It does what helps get it down the road.
Sure.
Right? That helps keep it from falling, helps keep it surviving. And so you have to teach your body new things to help it. Does that make sense? Right? You see somebody trying to squat, if they have immobility problems, well, just because they start squatting doesn't mean that's the right way for them to squat.
Yeah.
Or let me rephrase that. It's not the best way for them to squat.
Sure.
They have limitations because of mobility and sometimes strength. And so they have to develop those mobility and strengths so that they can do more efficient or better squatting forms so they can lift more weight, right?
Yeah.
So they can develop more strength. So it's like a cycle.
A lot to think there. Makes me think I need to go work on I'm really thinking about the Sunday thing now. I thought my form was great on my drills, but now I'm really double thinking everything.
You thought your form was great on your drills?
Well, not great. I thought it was at least a B+.
Well, I didn't give you a score. I didn't give you a grade.
I know, but then you're saying, no, you do the same arm, same leg, and I had no clue.
Just on certain drills. Like, I'll do it sometimes too, right? So it's usually the drills that your brain hasn't created those pathways for, and so it's like working overtime. So some people, most of the time what they do is they don't even move their arms. That's what you do. You don't move your arms because you're so hyper-focused on getting the footwork proper, right?
I can see that.
And then if you do move your arm, then it's like,
I can see it.
right? So, so that's the thing. But the more you practice any particular thing, the more you do it over and over and over and over again, well, the more confident you become, the more automatic it is.
Yeah.
And that's the point. That's why you do things like strength training, I feel like, and drills when you're a runner, is because when you're out there running, you won't have to think about it. It'll just happen. And that's what's crazy is if you will practice drills and do like run specific exercises, you don't have to fix your form on the run. It'll just like one day you'll be more aware, right? Your brain will start making those signals, and all of a sudden your form will just start improving.
So, I mean, if people listening have no clue, if you had to give people right now who had no idea what to do as far as drills, like the top, let's say 3 to 4 drills or whatever number you want to deem, no more than 5. Let's say the top 3 drills that are just great to do overall, everybody going to help you. What are your top 3?
The first drill would be to go to Running with James YouTube channel.
I knew that was coming up.
And type in drills. And there's literally videos on, I don't know, probably 10, 15 different types of drills with little instructions on their own how to do them, right? And kind of what they're for, right? If you're having issues or what have you. We also have a couple videos on there about running form and about drills, why you do them, what they're for.
You could see Rocky's video, right?
Yep, you can see the
So you
running
can actually
form one.
see
And we really
how that
break his
goes.
down. And we go into, okay, this is one of the inefficiencies. Here's why we do here's the drill we do to try to, right? So we give like some very specific examples, not of what the drill is, but why that drill is important for that thing.
Yeah.
Y'all can take a ride with me on my run assessment.
Yeah. So that's a good experience to be able to do that. So the first thing I would say you probably want to do is get on a treadmill or get somewhere where you can video yourself.
So get a tripod, get a friend.
Yeah, whatever. Set
Somebody.
your camera up and video yourself running in a few different angles, by the side, in front of yourself, behind yourself. And you may not even know what that means, right? So if you have, most phones have the slow motion, app or whatever,
Yeah.
where you can watch yourself in slow motion. But you can see, are you landing in front of your hips? That's the first thing I would look for,
Yeah.
is where are you landing in reference to your hips, right? So when you freeze it, are your feet in front of your hips? Are they under your hips, right? More than likely, they're probably in front of your hips. And depending on how drastic it is, your leg could be straight, right? So that's the first thing I would look at. The second thing I would look at is where is your heel coming, right? So do you have a 90-degree heel lift? So where is your heel in reference to your knee? Okay, because that has to do with your turnover. And if you're not getting at least 90-degree angle or what have you, so your heel's not coming up 90 degrees compared to, like, say this is your knee and this is your heel, then you're not really activating that hamstring very well. And so you're going to have to strengthen that hamstring, and you need to work on activating that heel lift, okay? So those would be the 2 things I would say you want to look at first, okay? There's all a bunch of other little things, but, like, if you worked on those 2 things, that would drastically help you, okay? So the 2 drills that help work on that, number 1 would be the marching drill. So that's basically just you get into a quick foot position, right? So you're really trying to move your feet pretty quickly. If you get you like a metronome or something and you can set it to 180 beats per minute, then you can step at 180 beats per minute on the drill. And then the next thing would be butt kicks, right?
Kicks,
if you did those 2 drills, it would, no matter, I don't care whether you have great, poor running form, those are 2 drills everybody should do. Right?
Butt kicks, but focusing on 4 knee drive, right?
So I would say run-specific butt kicks, right?
So not with the knee down.
There's butt kicks that everybody has probably always ever done in their life. But, like, I'm talking about run-specific butt kicks where your knee goes forward, right? So you can see videos and stuff like that on YouTube. You can go to the Running with James YouTube, and we have those drills, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But those 2 drills, I would say, go a long way in helping in your turnover, in your cadence, and in your stride. Right? So the point is you want to learn how to take a larger stride, not because you grab more ground in front of you, but because you open your stride up behind you, So when you watch, like, professional runners or elite athletes and stuff, or really good runners, like, they look like when they're running, they're like kicking their butts, but yet they look like they're taking these huge steps too at the same time. But they look like it's just easy form. Like, they look like they're barely even working.
Yeah, you can't even tell they're doing a 4:30 pace.
Yeah, like, they look like they're out there running slow, but yeah, like you said, they're doing a 4:30, 4:34 pace or something for 26 miles. So, that efficiency comes from, working on their form and really just, and some of it's natural, but still constantly getting better and better and better and better at it. So, but if you did those 2 things, you couldn't help but get better. And so I like to I'll prescribe those as part of the warm-up because it forces you to, kind of get your brain ready for what you're going to do, like the activity you want to be doing. But then it also gets blood flowing, right? So it helps warm up your muscles so that you're not warming up your muscles a mile in your run, right? So you're preparing yourself for your run before you actually run.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say do them religiously. I would say do them every time you run, and then if you really want to get good at it, take one day, and it's a day where all you do is work on your form. So you're doing a bunch of different kinds of drills. You do multiple sets of them. You do strides, which is where you're kind of running fast or what have you for like short periods, 50 to 100 yards or what have you. You do something like that once a week, along with your other training. Not only will you become a better runner, but you're going to be much more efficient, and your form's going to be like, it's going to look nice.
Well, and I will say to that, you had us do a day, like you, me, and like 2 other people at the track, and we just did drills. We like barely touched the track.
Yep.
And you even said, you're going to underestimate this because you're going to leave tired and you're going to be sore. And oh boy, my glutes and my hammies did not like me the next day because of how specific the movements were to just those areas.
Right.
And so just because it's a drill does not mean you're not working hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can do those drills, and like they're kind of low key strength workouts. And
Yeah.
they are. They're definitely. I mean, they're definitely neurological workouts, but they're strength workouts as well. So if you do them consistently and you do enough of them, you're gonna strengthen your hamstrings.
Yeah.
You're gonna strengthen your glutes. You're gonna strengthen your hip flexors, which is gonna help you when you're running.
Yeah. All
Bottom
the things
line.
you need.
Yeah, bottom line. So I would encourage you, always we're going to promote Running with James,
Yep.
right? Because that's who we are, and we're putting the work in, and we do this for you guys. But you could just go Google run drills or what have you, and you can probably find a ton of different style of drills and kinds of drills. I would just say whoever you're going to watch, make sure they have some sort of decent credentials, and it's not
Yeah.
just some yahoo.
They didn't just open an Instagram account and like, I run now.
Some influence or whatever, because I see a lot of misinformation out there. And
Yes,
that's why I
there's a
was like,
ton.
that's why I wasn't like, I listened to the whole thing and
No,
I
I know.
watched the entire
I know
thing.
I know.
But like there's these, I don't know. I guess we talked about it last week.
There is a lot of fake information
There's
out
so many
there.
freaking influencers or people that are called influencers, and they're just spouting off at the gum stuff.
There's a lot of people who want to think they're gurus or think they're professionals because they've been doing it for a little while and they have an account that their picture's on.
Yep.
There's a lot of fake information. Find people who know what they're talking about and actually have like the degrees or the certifications and the history to back that up.
Yeah, I would say experience and some sort of education, and then real world experience.
Yes.
So, I mean, like I told you about my coach, right? Like I ran cross country and I ran track and field, and I was pretty good. Like I was all state in both events. That was just purely out of my own abilities, not because like our coaches were, because most of our coaches, like our cross country coach was like the soccer coach and also the tennis coach. He was also the
The B
track
team?
and field coach. He was also the PE coach. I think he coached something else, right? So, like, he wasn't like an expert in all of those. In fact, I'm pretty sure he didn't play sports in high school, right? And it's not a knock on him. I think he still coaches now, but he's actually coached some pretty good teams. So, I mean, just like all of us, he learned things,
Yeah.
right? Whether
You
it was
learn
from
over the
trial and
years.
error, like using people like me, right? Or whether it was he went and learned. But, he taught us a lot of stuff that was not actually accurate, right? We only ran fast, right? We didn't run like for 5Ks, right? We pretty much, we only ran, I think, 2 or 3 days a week, like in practice. And like every time we ran, it was like, okay, last week you ran a 6:30 mile. This week I need you to run a 6:15. Like, that was the extent of it. It was just like, these are the numbers I want you to hit. Go out and hit them. And if you didn't hit them, okay, you got to run extra, right? So it was like, and so there was no like structure. We didn't have like a training plan that we were supposed to do on our own. It's just like, make sure you guys are running by yourself. That was it. Right? We never did drills. We never practiced drills, running form. It's just like more like motivational speaking. Like, you need to learn how to hurt and how to get through the pain. When we go to the track, it was like, hey, you can run the 800 meters pretty fast. Why don't you go ahead and run the mile this time around? Oh, good job. You ran the mile fast. I need you to jump in on the 4x400 relay, right? And that's that's how a lot of kids learn these. Now, maybe not these days. Maybe it's different, but that's how a lot of them learn. So it's just like people learn stuff. I'm pretty sure my high school basketball coach learned everything he knew about basketball from watching the movie Hoosiers.
That's awesome.
Like, his coaching technique was everything. I know he loved that movie, but after watching that movie, all the things he did and said came from that movie.
He really took
That's
that one to
great.
heart.
He did.
That's
he
great.
did. And it's a great movie. It's a great story. Yeah, let's make sure that the information we're learning and getting isn't from some guy that's just picking stuff up from something he saw somewhere else, right? So it needs to be, there needs to be some real world experience, maybe some certifications, some education, because you don't want to like listen to an expert that's not actually an expert and it leads you down the wrong path.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I just see I don't know. You want to see annoyed? You want to see my resting annoyed face? That's it right there. Like when I see some of that
That's
bull.
like when someone comes to James and, well, I heard from this person who has no
And
credentials.
that is the thing that gets me. I've had people come into like our gym and stuff, or come to get coaching and everything, and they'll have gone to some other place, and for years, and do everything that coach just told them to do, and none of it worked.
That's why they're here to see you.
And then I start telling them stuff, and it's like completely contrary
Yeah.
to what they were doing before, and they're like, "Oh no, that's not what we did. Oh, that's not what so-and-so taught us to do. Oh, we shouldn't do that." And I'm like, well, if doing that didn't get you results, maybe trying the opposite of that would help, right? Here's one that gets me. The rower and the skier. I can always tell when there's certain people that have been here because the dampener's on 10.
Do not set the damper on 10.
The dampener's on 10.
Do not set the dampener on 10, you crazy psychos.
Maybe we don't need to be like that. That's kind of harsh.
Hurts.
That's kind of harsh.
It's crazy.
That's
You don't
unnecessarily
need it.
mean.
No, you don't need it.
Yeah, but like I asked somebody, I was like, "Why do you set it?
don't.
Why do you set it to 10?" They were like, "Oh, because it'll make you faster." I was like, "Well, how does it make you faster?" Like, I don't know. That's what Coach so and so told me. Not a coach from here, but like
No.
one of their old coaches.
You would never hear that
And I
from
was
one
like,
of our coaches.
So you don't know why you do it? You just know that's what you're supposed to do? Yeah, it's like the setting to go faster. I was like, nah.
Well, then you ask people, do you know what the dampener does? They're like,
They know. They don't know.
They're like, it makes you go faster. I'm like, okay, I'm glad you know.
So the dampener, just educate, right, on both a skier and a rower is meant to make the pull easier or harder, right?
It's a fan.
So there's a fan in there, and so it adjusts the rate at which the power or the wattage can be created. So at 1,
Then the fan's closed, so there's no air in there for it to have resistance against. The higher that number gets,
so it pulls really easily.
yeah, it feels like there's nothing. The higher
then
that
when you
number
go to 10,
goes, that fan's opening all the way up, meaning more air comes in.
So more resistance, right? The more resistance, the more power and wattage you can pull.
I know
So
things.
usually, the bigger you are, the higher you should put the dampener. The
If
smaller
you're
you
a big
are,
person, yes.
the lower you should put the dampener. Okay. So, but for a good general rule, 6 to 8 is probably where you need to be.
Great number.
It's probably where you need to be.
I say 7. I say 6 is a sweet spot for most people who are just
Yeah.
getting started.
What's
5,
it at High
honestly.
Rocks?
Huh?
What's it at High Rocks?
I'm at. No, you
Usually
can put whatever you
it's like
want.
around. It's usually right at 6, but you can
6 is
change
a
it at
sweet
least
spot.
once if you want, right? So
Yeah.
like a big guy, like a dude who's like 250, 300 pounds, he could do a 10
Yeah.
because he's got so much mass
He's
to
big.
generate more power and
Yeah.
strength, and so he could actually probably go faster by setting it at a 10.
Sure.
Right? But someone like say you, if you put it at a
Would
10,
hurt me.
you're going to be exhausted really quickly
And
because
I'd
you're
probably
working
end up hurting my
so
back.
hard, right?
Yeah.
Should recommend
So,
9 then for me?
but that's
Yeah,
the thing.
for you,
it's,
9.
it's things like that just like get me is like people do things over and over again because some expert told them to do it and they never question them. But then every time I say do something, all I get is questions. I don't have anybody that just trusts me. And they're just like, okay, Coach James, whatever you say. Everybody's like, but why? But why? It's like talking to my daughter. But why? Well, because, but why? Well, because, but why? And there's no end to the but whys. I was like, well, that was the reason why, for the why, for the why, for the why. People are killing me inside. Maybe that's why I always have
hence
resting annoyed
the
face.
Resting annoyed face. Medium face.
Medium face. So go out, check out those drills, look at them online. But like I said, just, be aware of be educated when you're learning from educators. Mm-hmm. That makes sense? Is that right? Yep. All right.
And next time you see Coach James, ask him, why the medium face?
Yeah. I'm going to be getting all these people coming up to me. That's going to annoy the crap out of me. Oh, my God. I might smile the first 3 times.
Do like a creepy smile, though. Like, make it look a little uncomfortable. Like, you should smile so much, it just makes people like, what's wrong with you?
I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the difference between creepy and not creepy. Because, last week, I was,
You
talking
said
about
something, and I was like, you can't go up to a girl and talk to her that way. It's so creepy.
Yeah, but I was like, how you doing?
Yeah, that's creepy.
Is that creepy?
That's creepy.
I mean, I don't know. Is this creepy? Roll the window down. You look good. Is that creepy?
I wouldn't love that.
What if it was a Lamborghini and a guy
I don't like sports cars, so that means nothing
What if
to
it
me.
was a truck, a Jeep?
I don't like trucks, so that means nothing to me. Cars don't matter to me.
I mean, that happened to me the other day. Tommy and I were running, and some
Someone
lady
pulled down a
rolled the
truck?
window down and was just like, "You look good."
I'm pretty sure that person behind
That's why I
y'all the
stopped
other
running.
week was like getting a load of eyeful. There's a car like real slow driving behind y'all when y'all were
Maybe.
running. I was coming the opposite
Maybe.
direction.
We were running one day, and we just hear, "Woo wee, Lord have mercy," and some whistles
Did you
right
just
after
like
that.
cover up? Were you just
So
like, ugh?
I looked at him, I looked at Tommy, and I was like, "Did you hear that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I heard it." He's like, "It's ridiculous, man."
At the bridal extravaganza when I was there, some lady came up to me. She was like, "My friend wants to know if you come with the booth."
Ooh. Ooh.
I was like, "Well, how many hours you want to get?"
Yeah, that sounds
I was
about
trying to
right.
sell some-
That's a great answer.
Man, it's tough. It's
That's so
tough
funny.
out here for us, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
it
tough out
is.
here for us, man. But
So hard for y'all.
we take the good with the bad.
Anyway, on that note, Rocky, do you have any wise words for the people?
As I always do, Lauren. As I always do.
Okay, good.
Welcome back, people, to another segment with Rocky. They call it my rambles, but me and you know this is the part you fast forwarded to. This is the part you skipped to. This is the part you wanted to see, people. All right. Hopefully you did the challenge from last week. Hopefully you looked after the one. Hopefully you went after the one. You helped out someone's life. You cheered up someone's day for one day. Now, today I want to talk to you about productivity. Can you say with me, guys? Say productivity.
No.
Didn't we already talk about this?
Productivity.
This is
Did we
not
do like a
Dora-
whole like
This
2-hour
is-
segment on
This
this?
is not Dora the Explorer.
But okay, productivity. What? Go.
Yes. We talked about this last week when we talked about intentions. Guys, it starts with the intentions. You have the thought. Yes, you may have some amazing thoughts, but nothing is better when seeing your thoughts actually come into physical form and being real. You accomplish those actual thoughts. Those dreams actually become goals, and those goals become stuff you succeeded. Let's talk about this productivity. So when that first thought comes to mind, you got to move with intention after that. You actually got to take the steps forward to that. And then when you move, when you take forward to those things, guess what happens?
What?
Resistance comes.
Dang.
It's going to push you down.
Yep.
It's going to
try to stop you.
Exactly. You take 2 steps forward, or you take a step forward to get 2 steps back. Oh, that must be a sign I should quit, right?
No.
No.
Don't quit.
That's when you go harder.
Double down.
That's when you're like, oh, I must be actually doing something right. If
Right,
they
split
trying to
the
break me
11s.
down.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you got to move the intentions. Then you get discouraged. Then you got to find inspiration. Where does that come from, James?
Within.
Running with James.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, running with James. But within, Lauren, that's a good job.
Thank
It comes
you.
from within. You got to remind yourself
Get
of
over
why
yourself.
that thought. You got to remind yourself the goals. Where is this going to go to? Why did I start this? Why did I even have that thought? Why do I want to? Because we have distractions out here. You know what a distraction is?
Oh yeah.
What?
Things that distract you. Do you like that when people say dumb things?
Yes, I do.
Welcome to my life.
A distraction is something that's not benefiting you at all. It's taking
These
it's
rambles
taking
have
the
just, like,
meter
really
to
evolved.
the other side. It's
Okay,
taking
take that
the-
meter over.
Yeah, is it benefiting where you're trying to go, or is it benefiting where you trying to get away from?
Oh, okay.
A distraction, I get distracted all the time.
100%.
Exactly. I'm always going back to the person I don't want to be, to sitting on the couch and watching TV, because I want to go out there and get it.
Yeah.
I got to start with better intentions. But then I start making my intentions. I go and I run a habanero 100. It breaks me down. I don't want to do anything. But I found inspiration. I was able to make it a core class yesterday.
He did. He made it to leg day.
Yeah, I
We
couldn't
were
make
all
it
very
to High
surprised.
Rocks this morning.
Yeah.
But I made it.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to do a run today.
And you know
Do a
what?
run
That
tomorrow.
inspired me.
I appreciate
You
that.
being there because I didn't want to do the workout. When I saw you walk in, I was like, all right, I got to get this workout in.
Let's do it.
Yep. So I wanted to lead by example because I saw you. And all I wanted to do was just like coach it out.
Did it for the one. Look at that.
Look at that.
Big challenge for last week. All right, guys. But you find that inspiration, you keep moving forward, all right? And it sucks. But guess what? You keep doing that consistently,
Consistency is the
day
key.
by day, doing these
Step by step.
They're not, we don't got to call them drills
Ooh,
in your everyday life,
girl.
but you build these brain neuro pathways. What'd you call them, James?
Yeah, no, what I like what you
Neurological
said. I like where you put them. Brain neuro pathways. That's
Yeah,
what it
that
is.
way. Neurological pathways
Yeah.
are getting built daily. Your old self is dying. You're changing your mind. So you
Bam.
can change your life.
Renew your mind daily.
Renew your mind daily.
Mm.
And I guarantee it. I can guarantee it. If you consistently attack little goals, work on the neurological pathways, the high knees, but really it's just I want to write a book. It's writing a little bit here and there. Get your high knees in, get the butt kicks in. I guarantee it. That book's going to come to fruition. They may
if
not
you kick
sell.
your own butt.
Yeah.
You'll write your own book.
Yeah, exactly. It may not come to fruition. I mean, it may not sell.
Put that on a bumper sticker.
But it's going to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one may not sell, but the second one could be a Pulitzer.
Exactly.
Right?
But the thing is, you created something.
Yes.
And I mean, we were made to create.
And you never give up.
Exactly.
Never surrender. Never retreat. Never surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Never surrender. That was a movie.
Welcome to our TED Talk.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've gone from rambles to like your words of wisdom to writing a small novel to TED Talks. Like these have
appreciate that.
evolved.
I don't know if that was a TED Talk. That was more of
almost a
like
TED Talk.
TT.
That was like a Tony Robbins TED Talk.
Yeah, that was like a Tony Robbins talk. That was like a David Goggins without like
No, it wasn't as much yelling or
slapping somebody
cussing. There
and
wasn't much
cussing them
yelling
out.
and cussing.
Without discipline.
Yeah. Lauren, do you have a LOL?
Not really this week. Just been working. I've been trying to I don't know, just working, doing what I do. Running here, running there, running everywhere.
And that's the life of Lauren.
And that's the life of Lauren. I need to get a new night guard because I'm grinding my teeth again. That's a sign.
Hey, as long as you're grinding.
You're
not
grinding.
this kind
of
Yeah,
grinding.
you're grinding.
As long as you're grinding.
No, because we don't have
Stay
dental
on
insurance
your
here.
grind.
So
What?
no,
What did you just
we
say?
don't have dental.
Stay on your grind.
Oh, I thought you were singing it. I thought you were taking it to R. Kelly. He's like, I don't see nothing wrong. I was like, that's a different kind of grinding. I don't think that's
not
yeah,
that
that's the
grinding.
wrong
We're not talking
kind.
that grinding.
Yeah. So my mind. All right. Anything else?
No, time for sign off. I think.
Okay.
Let's see. So
Well, it was a good time.
it was a good time. Hopefully you learned a few things.
Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Running with James. Make sure that if you haven't done so already, please follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, and of course Facebook as well. And you can do so at MyBCFit or the Running with James. Running.James with James. Bam.
You trying to take over? Do what I did earlier?
Am I trying or am I doing it?
You are doing.
Okay.
Okay.
So, if you haven't done so as well, please make sure that you like, subscribe, do all that great stuff. And then here's a big thing that I don't think you guys really do quite nearly enough that we would really appreciate. Share. Share. I used to say this thing on my YouTube channel. I would say, you share the things that you care about. What happens when you find a really great restaurant? What happens when you go to a place that's so delectable and so good? What do you usually do?
Share it.
You share it.
Unless you really like it, then
Because
you
you want people to enjoy the same type of experience that you've enjoyed. You want people to be able to have the joy, nay, the pleasure that you've enjoyed. And so if you get any type of enjoyment, if you learn anything from our Running with James podcast or YouTube channel, please share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with the ones you love. Because you share the things you love with the people you love.
Preach. And actually subscribe
okay,
as well.
I feel very one-upped right now.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, bull.
I wasn't trying to
BS.
one up anybody. I was just trying to,
BS.
whatever, dude. I'm just trying to jump on the wagon.
I'm wearing my power blazer next time.
Wear whatever. I got shorts on. Look at that. Look at these legs. Look at the legs.
Leggies.
I need quads, man. I ain't got no quads.
Flex your quads a few more times.
I'm trying to. They're not flexing.
All right, guys. So make sure that you are leaving us your reviews while James is over here admiring his quads.
Look at that
Make
baby
sure that you
calf.
do leave us a review. Tell us what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear, what you don't want to see, and what maybe you do want to see. Is it James's kind of hairy, lot of quads and hamstrings?
Look at all that. Look at that. Look at that leg bicep. I'm just kidding. I want one of those.
So make sure you hit us up, people. Let us know what you like.
Did you just repeat what I just got through saying about the
did.
subscribing? Why?
Because
all you got to say
you're
is
awkwardly showing
change
your
your mind.
leg.
when you change your
You're
mind,
awkwardly
you
showing
change
your
your
leg.
mind,
You change
you
your
can
life.
change
Your
no, no.
life.
Shh. You started the opener. Shh.
When you change your mind,
You can change your life. Peace.
peace.
I don't like how you said that.